ABC15 takes great pride in honoring our local military veterans who continue to give back to the community. And thanks to our partner, Sanderson Ford, we continue our ABC15 Salutes Arizona Veterans campaign. Our next honoree, U.S. Staff Sergeant Adam Bigelow, he spent 3 wars in the Middle East facing the gruesome reality of war as a ground and a flight medic. After being diagnosed with severe PTSD, Adam lost his flight medic status and began spiraling into depression until he got help from the PTSD Foundation of America. Well, he is now giving back. Adam saved lives on the battlefield and continues to do so today.
I have a very big heart, and where I don't like to see people hurt. I became a medic and became a combat medic, and I just wanted to go help. I went to Iraq twice, once in Baghdad, and then to northern Iraq, which was Kirkuk. We just got off of a 16-hour raid. We just felt the ground shake. And at that time, it was the largest VBID, vehicle-borne IED, in the Iraq war. It's so hard to explain. When I say that it leveled a little over 2 city blocks, that's what it was. And you just see chaos. It was 90 dead and over 300 wounded. And nowhere in my aid bag can I treat over 300 people. So I was given, the order that we're not there to give medical. And for me, that's the hardest. I did another tour as a flight medic, and I went to Afghanistan. And that's really where I started having my issues with PTSD. I had no emotion whatsoever. There was no sadness, there was no joy, it was just nothing. I continued to be numb, so I really started getting alcohol, got into drugs. And I had support. My wife, Desiree, has been there by my side the whole time. And when I did finally get help, one-on-one therapy, I went through PTSD groups, but the day I got diagnosed with severe PTSD is now my worst day. Within 2 hours, I was diagnosed. I was grounded from flying. All my medical taken away. I wasn't allowed to teach medical. I wasn't allowed to do medical. And then they took all my soldiers away within 2 hours. So all your purpose is just gone. So I spiraled. My family was actually back in Arizona and I was still in Texas, and I put a pistol in my mouth. When I was about to pull the trigger, my phone rang, and it was my wife's picture popped up. And that right then and there was what pulled the pistol out of my mouth. I got involved with PTSD Foundation of America. I was blessed to get into their groups. It saved my life. My mentor from the PTSD Foundation called me and asked if I would like to start warrior groups in Arizona, in Phoenix. And I was absolutely. It's a safe place just for combat vets to come. We talk about our issues during the week, our daily issues, and we do one-on-one mentoring as well. We help these guys who are struggling with their everyday life, and we relate to each other. And I just really try to help and give them the guidance they need. A lot of the combat vets, we give secondary PTSD to our wives, to our kids, because everything we're going through, and it's such an important thing that we started a family group for the spouses to have the support, have the mentoring that they need. And there was nobody better to run that than my wife. In the past 7 months since I've been doing this, I've talked to thousands of vets. Our numbers here in Arizona, we have almost 600,000 vets. 100,000 of them have been diagnosed with PTSD from the VA. The suicide rate, the national, the 20 to 22 a day, Arizona is one of the highest. We lose 1 a day. And for us, it's really about getting the awareness out that they're not alone, that there's people here. And everything we do it 100% free. We don't charge for the plane tickets. We don't charge for the counseling, the Camp Hope. It's 100% free. We take all worries away from the vets and their families. And we're just truly, truly here to help and just let everybody you're not alone.
We are so honored to have Adam Bigelow here with us this morning. Thank you so much for your service. It has truly been an honor to get to know you and your beautiful wife, Desiree. Camp Hope was a real pivotal shift for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Talk a little bit about what you went through emotionally during that time when you were there.
You go through a lot. When you're going through groups and you're going through the manual that we use and you have that peer-to-peer support, things that you've never wanted to talk about, you feel comfortable because the other people there, they've been through what you've been through. So you can actually really start talking and getting down to the traumas that you went through.
And it's combat vets, right?
Yes, ma'am. It's all combat vets. And when I say combat vets, it doesn't mean you have to be a trigger puller. If you went overseas into a combat zone, you're more than welcome into our groups. We are here for you. You're not alone. And it truly works. It's that peer-to-peer. There's nothing that you're going through that someone in my group, not even including myself, that hasn't been there, hasn't been to that point.
You and your wife are stretching this even farther, and touching those other wives and children who are part of the family unit.
Yes,
Why
ma'am.
is that such a critical part of this?
The families are absolutely critical. Our wives, they support us and they're there for us every day. They go through what we're going through, and our depression, our anger, everything we go through, they're there for us. And there hasn't been anybody there for them. We've looked at different areas around Arizona and countries nationwide, and there's just real no support. So that's what we do a family group for. It's truly that same peer-to-peer. My wife runs it, and she's been through all my lows of my life, and she's been to the highs. So there's no one else who can really relate, and she just gives that mentoring and that peer support.
And very quickly, I want to talk about that test that you said that you took
ma'am.
when you were leaving the Army, and you checked the box, yes, I feel like I'm going through something mentally. I need help.
Yes, ma'am.
You said no one responded.
Yes, ma'am. It's what you do when you're deployed. Before you even come home from deployment, you fill out your first test. And it's a post-deployment health assessment. And it says, you talk about what have you seen that deployment. If it's dead bodies, have you gone through explosions? And you mark all this down. And then one of the last things is, do you want to seek medical help? And that was the first time that I checked yes. And I didn't hear anything. When you come home, you do it all over again. You go through doctors, you go through dental, and you do another assessment. And the same thing, I checked yes, and we don't hear back. And that's the biggest story there is. So I tell anybody that's active right now, if you're going through stuff, it's not just checking that box yes. You have to be proactive, and you have to go into mental health clinic, and you have to say that you need help, because that's the start of your journey into healing.
And thank you for answering the call for so many of those veterans.
Absolutely.
We truly appreciate the incredible work you do. And because of what you're giving back to our community, on behalf of ABC15 and Sanderson Ford, we'd like to present you with this $500 gift card, courtesy of Sanderson. Thank you again.
No, thank you guys very much. I appreciate it.
All right, we certainly thank you.